Hey, everybody. It's really nice to see you. Maybe not up close, but we're happy to see you. We're really excited to present the Fandemic Dead event. It's our first Fandemic Dead virtual event. We want you all to have a good time, enjoy the panels, enjoy your meet and greets, and thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate it, and I'm sure all of the actors and actresses do as well. Everyone stay safe and be well. Thanks.
Hello and welcome to Fandemic Day 2, bringing your favorite stars together in this virtual fan counter. I want to thank our fans at Fandemic Tours for bringing us together literally today, where they always put the fans first and probably the most aptly named Comic-Con company on the planet this year. I am Victor Dangerous, the hardest working man in comics, and it is my extreme pleasure to welcome to the virtual stage stars of the hit television series inspired by the best comic book in the universe, The Walking Dead. I know you're as hungry to meet them as a roaming herd, so without any further ado, guys, what's up? How are we doing?
Groovy.
Hey, JD, I'm so glad that you're here. We were worried. We were worried that you weren't going to quite make it in here, but you snuck in at the last minute.
You can't do this during football season.
I mean, that's one of those. That's one of those things, man. That's one of those things. You know, look, Josh he's ready.
JDM, are you a Broncos fan? Is that your team?
You know
yeah. Let's get that admission out of the way.
Meet and greets like, well, Ross and the Broncos.
I love it. So we've got everyone here. If you guys don't mind, let's give just a quick rundown to introduce you to the fans. And let's start with Josh. I mean, as Jared, you were, the now fallen savior that everyone loved to hate. But you're here. We're so glad to see you, Josh. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. As Jerry, he's the right-hand man that wields an axe as big as his heart. Cooper, what's up?
Yo.
Beth Green, she was a gentle mouse who learned to roar in the biggest way possible. Hello to Emily.
Hi.
Yay! Maybe Alexandria's second most controversial citizen, a former whisperer as Lydia. Let's hear it for Cassidy.
Yay!
Hello. He's Aaron, the heart and soul of Alexandria's recruitment outreach program. Hello. Let's hear it for Ross.
Hey.
So he's bouncing in and out, but hopefully Chandler will be right back in here. But even staying in his father's shadow as Carl, he found a way to light the future. So hopefully he'll be back in here in just a second. And a savior more in love with the bat doesn't really exist outside of Gotham City with the last name Wayne. He was Negan. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeffrey D. Morgan. What's up, sir? How are we doing?
Hey,
yes.
buddy.
That's amazing. First things first. I mean, let's talk about 2020 and the craziness. It literally looks like the year that Greg Nicotero executively produced. How are you guys surviving out here? Are you guys doing all right? Making it look that's a 2020 head nod right there. Come on. You guys survived the zombie apocalypse. You guys can handle 2020, right? Like this isn't so bad. Obviously, we know that there are some bonus, episodes that are coming out for season 10. Are we excited about the prospects, opportunities of this?
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah.
Hey, there he is. Chandler's back.
The second we go live, everything falls apart.
And that is the way the zombie apocalypse works, man. It's just what it is. I love it. The Walking Dead kicked off.
Apocalypse.
Ooh, yeah, very much so. The Walking Dead kicked off a resurgence in zombies and pop culture. Who was a horror fan before this? Who was all about the zombies before the show?
Yeah, man.
Oh, talk to me. What's your faves? I got to hear it.
What's your what?
What's your favorite zombie or horror feature? What you got?
I mean, I was a fan of The Walking Dead.
Oh, you all heard that? That's right. Yes. I love that. Cassie's like, me too. I'm riding that train. Let's go.
I always liked in high school like all the Scream movies, like Scream. I know what she did last summer.
Right.
Yeah.
All the Nightmare on Elm Street stuff. I used to watch those a bunch. Kind of more like, I guess, 90s. our phones.
Absolute classics. Absolute classics. Ross, what about you?
I was a big fan. Like, I know Greg's a zombie purist, but I like 28 Days Later. I like the fast zombies.
Yeah, that was
The most dangerous zombies of all time. Just
yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
that was wasn't that fucking vampires though?
No,
It was a rage virus.
Rage virus. Yeah.
Yes. They were just really annoyed and just ran all the time. That's just
Right.
what it was.
I'm not thinking 20 Days Later. I'm thinking something else that was in the snow with Danny Houston.
That's
30 Days a Night.
There we go.
Days,
That's right.
some days
Yes. Yeah. 30 Days a Night. A brilliant piece. Absolutely. He's like,
28
it's calendar
days,
horror.
30
That's what we like.
How'd you get that confused? How?
Cooper, what about you, man? What's some of the horror that you love?
Fucking scary.
Yeah, I mean, any zombie that runs is automatically a terror for me. So Dawn of the Dead, I was like, they're running? Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm not running with face first, please.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
I just
Now,
don't want to go out by the toes.
who was fan of the comic book series before the show started? Do we have any comic readers here? Okay.
I don't want, yeah.
I like it.
I started reading the comics right when I got the audition for the show.
Oh, nice.
I like stayed up through it for like, the 10 years from when I started reading the comics to when they ended. It was weird. I didn't expect to be as like emotionally affected by the end of the comics as I was. I was like, man, this was like a big part of. I didn't realize how big of a part of my life the comics were. It's so weird. The comics are incredible. I love every issue.
Absolutely.
I lived in Chandler's house for 2 years, and he left all of his comics behind, and so I reread them at Chandler's house.
I don't know if that's like a weird admission. Or like,
We have a weird relationship.
Okay, I mean, listen, we watched the show. We totally get it. But I mean, speaking of that, I mean, we think that we know you guys very, very well as long-term fans. But what's something that everyone has gotten wrong about your character? And Emily, I'd like to start with you. What's one thing that nobody gets right about Beth?
I don't know.
She's really alive.
That's all. The headshot just kind of went to the side. It worked for Carl. Why not?
Yeah.
That's real. What about Coop? What do you got? What's something that everyone gets wrong about Jerry?
Everyone pretty much nails it about Jerry. I'm just waiting for some secret evil thing that we don't know about him.
That would be so dark.
Like, he's just so nice. I'm like, he is. He really is.
You are correct. You are absolutely correct. I mean, you're literally the better. Like, I think you're a better right-hand man than Alexander Hamilton was to George Washington. So you are tip top up there. Ross, what about Aaron? What's something that everybody gets wrong about Aaron?
I just can't get over the notion that he doesn't like applesauce. Like, I just doesn't make sense.
Oh,
Who the hell doesn't like applesauce?
I mean, it might take that in order to survive the zombie apocalypse. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to skip you, Cassidy, for now because I think Lydia is a very easy one for people to So, Josh, what did everyone get wrong about Jared? Because for the most part, so many fans were like, we don't like this guy.
Oh, yeah.
But he had good qualities.
Nah, not too many. I think I actually got more wrong. I was hoping for a redemption arc, and that certainly wasn't in the cards. So.
Alden, yeah.
Tough way to do a redemption arc.
Yeah.
So true. So true.
Yeah.
Chandler, what about Carl? What's something that people get wrong about Carl?
I don't know about. I mean, for some reason, everyone seems to think that I really like chocolate pudding.
I knew it.
Yeah.
That's harsh. That's super harsh. You're just like, I really don't.
You don't like chocolate pudding?
I mean, it's not that I'm against chocolate pudding, but I don't. It's not like I'm obsessed with chocolate pudding. It was one time 6 years ago.
It was a real. I just did it one time, one camera.
Yeah.
That was it. Everyone's like, the pudding for you. Yeah. Jeff, what about you, man? What's something that people get wrong about Negan?
Oh, that he's a villain.
Oh, come on.
I mean,
Come on. Swallow that on. We're not talking about the Seahawks, bro.
Sports ball. This is how it goes. Cassidy, okay, so it's your turn. What's something that people get wrong about Lydia?
Oh, really? Okay, I think no one really trusted her. They thought that she was still a whisperer, but now, maybe I should. The finale, if you've seen it, then you know.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. There you go.
So
Although
she's
you
not-
shouldn't be tuning in here if you haven't watched season 10. Like, what are y'all doing? Like, come on, get it right. Get it absolutely right. Behind the scenes, some of you guys play staunch adversaries. Did you guys stay like in separated groups to kind of create that dynamic on set? Or did
No,
you
we
just
all
kind
hate
of?
each other.
Wow. Okay.
Turn it on.
Welcome to the Fandemic therapy session. Hello. Okay.
We're actors. God damn it. We don't even act like we don't. Like each other.
Okay. So y'all were,
Yeah.
that's very amazing though, because I mean, you hear a lot of times that directors want to keep actors apart to make sure that there's this authenticity of the ire and aggression between everyone, but y'all still just were like, yeah, no, you're my buddy. Action. I hate you.
Yeah.
Like that's
We're shooting so
amazing.
fast. There's not really a lot of time to like hate each other. We're all we're on the same team.
That's amazing.
There's these moments where because I don't, it's like sometimes when we're, when we did the battle sequences and everything, I would see Jeffrey. I'd be like, "Hey, man!" Then he would go do his scene, and I'm like, "Oh, right, he's a villain." But like, I just remember like all these like, "Oh yeah, oh man, all these people can act. I forgot why we're here." Right?
You killed my friend. I'm so sad. That's amazing. Now, when it comes to the production time, how long does an episode actually take to shoot?
It used to take like 8-9 days, and now
Wow.
with COVID, it's like a year
Yeah.
per episode.
Unfortunately. Oh my God. That's amazing. But I mean, is it like a grueling 8-9 days? Are we talking like 14-16 hour shifts, or everybody's like, yes, it is.
Yep.
We are literally the Walking Dead. Ugh. Did you have any particular scenes that were like super tough where you're like, I don't think I ever want to do this ever again? Yes, go ahead, Cassidy, go for it.
Oh, well, this last scene with Melissa that was in the finale, if you haven't watched it, just don't listen to what I'm saying. But when Lydia pulls Carol away from jumping off the cliff, we actually did that so many times on the day. And then like 3 months later, we found out we had to do it again. And we had to fly to LA and then reshoot the whole thing. And by the end of it, I was just
Really?
laughing. Yeah, it was a lot of crying and hugging. But I liked the
man.
hugging part. It was great.
Are there any outtakes where y'all push each other off the cliff? You can tell us.
Oh yeah, we just jumped together. It was great.
A little Thelma Louise style off. That's real.
Butch and
I like
Sundance.
Josh, what about you? Any particular hard scenes? I mean, obviously getting eaten by zombies. That would count.
The hard scenes were my favorite stuff.
Nice.
It's a time where I got to act. You got to do stuff.
Of course. That's
Fantastic.
awesome.
The
I
dream.
love that.
I don't know.
Emily? Oh, go ahead.
I was just thinking of like the very last day of shooting. Oh, do people freeze? Wait, you guys can see me, right?
Yeah, we can see you. You're
The
fine.
very last day, I mean, Chandler would remember this, the very last day of shooting season 2, we had to shoot where the zombies come and take over the farmhouse.
Mhm.
And I remember that night being, like, all of us being so sleep deprived. And, like, by the end, people could, like, barely say their lines because it was, like, the sun was coming up. They had to, like, black out the windows for the indoor scenes.
Wow.
And it was, I mean, people had, like, flights to get to and everything, so we had to finish it. And it was just like, it was so hard to just speak and like be there because everyone was so basically just, sleep deprived.
I'm so glad for child labor laws, so it could only be 1.5 hours.
Use the system. That's the way.
Yeah.
That's the way.
Sleeping on this couch inside of the, because we had also had like a whole week of night shoots prior to this very last, scene. And yeah.
That's amazing. Chandler, what about you? Any particular hard ones?
Oh yeah. The scene where Carl killed Lori was the most brutal 2 days of a sequence that it took for us to shoot that ever. It was just like nonstop sobbing for just days straight. It was not a fun time. I think that was the first time that I was actually like affected outside of filming. I was like, man, it was so weird. Like I didn't think that it like doing scenes could affect you in that way, but and then I didn't think that they could top that, but then I had 8 days of crying for my my last episode, so it's like it was even more of a crying mess. But regardless, I still it's I I don't know. You know it's good when it affects you and outside your work, and that's when you know it's going to be good.
It affected all of us, I'm sure, because you say it was 2 to 8 days of crying. We're still crying, sir. So trust and believe that. Ross, what about you?
Pudding.
He's eating your pudding, to be specific.
I was gonna say that the Negan lineup, that was the most psychologically taxing shit to do ever. I mean, because
it was physically fucking grueling for you guys too. I mean, that was a lot. It was cold. It was a lot of tears. It was a lot of everything. That was a rough day for you.
It never ended. It never ended. It was yeah, we shot it for so long, and then we came back months later, and we were still shooting it.
That was brutal. But I mean, it's honestly, it's not an episode that I want to watch over and over again. But I think it's one of the best episodes of TV we've ever done.
Totally agree.
I can absolutely agree with that. Cooper, what about you, man?
For reasons being different, but people have probably heard me talk about it enough. But I had this hernia, and we were shooting like umbilical hernia, and I was doing Cudlett's episode. I mean, the cave sucked, but I was already like 5 weeks into healing on that. But I was doing Cudlett's episode, and this is where the tree gets knocked over, and we had to like run over this tree that wasn't like we couldn't lean on. The tree was like sawed off. The branches were attached, so we couldn't actually use it. So I'd like lift my legs over. And then I had to, I didn't have to, but I decided to pick up one of the Kingdom people. I'm just carrying her. And she's a small person. She's like 100, like barely 100 pounds. And I go to her as I'm like flexing my stomach as hard as possible because I'm like, this hurts so much. And I go, did you eat today? She goes, yes, I'm sorry. I go, ridiculous. And then I was joking, but she was, but I just remember like just standing there and just listening to lines. And I'm like just sweating so hard and just thinking about like, I hope this thing doesn't pop out of my shirt right now.
Oh my God.
That was a blast. That was fun.
Oh my God. It's so kind of dark, man. Food shaming people outside of that's crazy.
But I like Greg Carey. She named it orbital acting. It's this thing that Greg does for me, which is where in the scene Jerry stays in the middle and then everyone has to move around him for the camera, but I stay still. It happens a lot. It'll be this whole everyone's moving around. I'm just staying in one spot.
Everyone's gonna go back and watch this now. It's like, there it is. He's doing it.
Orbital acting. I didn't know where everyone has to revolve around me because Greg, after I pulled my hamstring in season 7, he's like, Cooper's never running in my episodes again. I'm like, thank you.
Jeff, what about you, man?
I think it's a combination of sort of what everybody's saying. It's hard when someone that you have become close to is leaving the show. But I think just the physical aspect of the 16-hour days, the fucking heat, all the shit that goes along with this show, it's kind of unlike any other show that any of us will ever do, I'm sure. It's hard, long hours and a lot of physicality to it. That look, at the end of the day, you feel like you put in your time.
Absolutely. I think The Walking Dead as a show has definitely upped the ante on some of the gnarly effects of things that other comic book based shows are bringing to the table. But the effects were nothing short of gnarly. What are some of the prosthesis or makeup jobs that you saw that absolutely terrified you? Were there ones that you were like, that's wrong and I love it? Chandler, you've been on longest, so let's start with you.
I was gonna say my eye, the prosthetic for my eye that we had
that was awesome.
In season 7 was really, really cool.
A bowl of spaghetti.
And I'm never eating spaghetti. Thank you.
Yeah, they actually, because the bottom layer of the prosthetic was so thin, they had to tape my eyelid shut because my eyelashes were like moving the closest layer of the prosthetic because everything was so thin. Because it had to be as close to my actual eye as possible. But it was. I think it was just so cool because we had so many different versions of that prosthetic of when I took off the bandage, and it was really, really cool to see like the finished product on screen. So
can anyone top that? Anyone have one that's grosser in your opinion?
I feel like every year Greg comes up with a new song. Yeah, it's pretty friggin' awesome.
What would you say from this last season was the grossest one yet? I mean, that's hard to say with the whispers.
When Ross and I had our kind of episode together, we had some cool zombies that were wrapped up in that ivy crap that blinded you.
Pretty hogweed or whatever. Yeah, that was cool shit.
That was amazing, dude. I loved it in an episode when when Aaron makes it into the shelter or whatever, and Negan is just kind of sitting there relaxing, just kind of sipping his tea, waiting, like you just knew he was going to get there. That's trust.
I love doing that episode. I love working with Aaron. We had a great time, and I thought it turned out really good. That was a fun one.
That's amazing. I love that. Okay, so this one is specifically for Jeffrey and Josh. Maybe Negan and the Saviors weren't wrong, but were they right? Let's get into it. Were they right for the way they did things?
I don't think anybody's necessarily right in this world, and I don't think anybody's necessarily wrong. I think it's just a matter of how to survive. I mean, people will bitch and moan and pick their sides. Usually the other side that I'm on, but I really think it's just you do what you can to keep going to the next day, and I think that's definitely kind of been Negan's theory, and as well as everyone else's. But I don't know that there's necessarily a right and a wrong. I mean, maybe like smashing people's heads in is not the right way, but I think we've all done very questionable things on this show.
Perhaps. That's a very diplomatic answer, by the way. He's like, I don't think anybody's really. Josh, what do you think? You want to add to that one?
I mean, I watched the season 7 finale and the season 8 premiere on a plane in between two people, and after experiencing that and folks looking at my screen, after we had kind of shot, I had gotten on the show and shot 802, and after experiencing that, it's hard to believe that they were ever in the right again. And so, it's a testament to the writers to give Negan such a redemption.
Yeah, but wait. Remember when all of our heroes broke in and killed everybody in their sleep? That was
they did.
It's just slit all their throats.
Yeah.
Sleeping people.
30 people.
Wake them up.
Then you have these characters that you love. You have Abraham going. It's like people are Abraham, and they're just so attached to these guys. So it's hard to present them any other. You kill a bunch of background, or you kill dudes that have been on the show for a long time. That people
that's a whole different fucking psychological bullshit game that you're playing now.
Well, I liked Michonne's when she was tripping, because we put people we knew in or we in those beds, or we saw the effect of it, and it really was and I always think about it from the Kingdom's perspective, because it's we had it kind of sucked, but it's all right, here's some pigs, here's some fruit. And now we're jumping into this fight. And it's whoa. You guys didn't tell us that you went in and killed up an entire base before meeting us. So
Details.
Dude. Oh my God. Oh, now they think we're in it. Oh. And then of course, Kingdom gets just destroyed every season. It's oh, great. Just fantastic. We're farmers. We put on plays. We got Bob Dylan covers. Come on.
Ross, you want to throw in on that one?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. When we went on that satellite compound and started killing people, I remember. I think Steve and Yin and I were talking about it. We're this is a big turning point for the show. We can't really claim that we're pacifists at this point. It's well, this is a choice, and it's going to be represented.
So true. This next question, Emily, Cassidy, and Chandler, this is really for you guys. Teenage angst can get you eaten or worse. What were some of your most cringeworthy moments in the show where, maybe the attitude of your characters was this is terrible. They should never do that in the zombie apocalypse. Go for it, Emily.
I mean, well, right away when you meet Beth, she's thinking about just checking out. I guess it's not really a cringeworthy. I don't know. I mean, I feel I like Beth. I feel she was just always trying to do her best. And I think it's nice that you see her sort of growing up in this world and discovering herself, and even just once she gets separated from everyone, how she sort of takes on you know how when you're in a group, you become the person, or she especially become the person who's needed, and you kind of see her do that throughout the seasons. And then when she's by herself, she gets to explore these other sides of herself, and you get to see like a different aspect of her personality. And I think that's very similar to like in the real world, like maybe when you leave and go to college and you sort of other parts of your personality come out, or you grow in the way that you need to survive. So I don't know. So like I don't have any cringeworthy moments. I don't.
Good. No, be proud. That's the way. That's absolutely. Chandler, now you have to come up with something really cool now after that.
One word, Dale. That's yeah. People hated my character for many like at the start of the show. For the first like 2-3 years, everyone hated Carl. People come up to me at conventions. They're like, "I hate your character. You killed Dale. You're annoying. I hate you." And I'm like, okay. Well,
They grew me that way.
I'm like, guys, I'm like 12. Like, just like, I don't write the show. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah.
You're a terrible person. This other fictional person died.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Oh,
but I
when
feel
did
like
that
all of
turn
season
around?
2 was just cringeworthy for Carl.
When did that stop happening to you? What was the turning point?
I think in like honestly, people still hated my character up until like season 5 or 6.
Wow.
Because then in season 4 he had his whole thing where he was like, "Oh, I don't need you, Dad. You let everyone at the prison die. You didn't kill
Carl Papa.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that's kind of like every fucking kid growing up. I mean,
True.
Literally, that's just youth.
It's the place.
We got to watch you and Carl grow up.
That's right.
Yeah.
Literal. That's amazing.
Yeah. And it didn't like get a bunch of people killed, but yeah, that's
No judgment. Cassidy, what about you?
Oh gosh. Cringeworthy moments. I guess in episode 4 of season 10, she had some cringy teenage Jake's dialogue with Daryl, I think.
Maybe we'll say perspective.
Yeah. I guess that was. I don't know. I don't even think it was that bad, but there was that. That if I had to pick one scene, it would probably be that one.
Nice. Now, I will admit, like when you first premiered on the show, season 9, you were having the conversation with Henry next to him. You were the most devious person of all time because I'm watching it and I'm like, Henry, stop talking. She's mining you for information search.
Henry was like, "What are you doing?"
Henry was
So
the sharpest
dark.
tool in the shed, though.
I mean,
Henry.
he used the blunt stick. Okay, that's all we're gonna say. But. You were drawing stuff out, and I'm yelling at the screen like, "Stop talking to her!" It was the most active moment of all time. It was absolutely amazing. Absolutely loved it. Okay, so Cooper, Ross, both of your characters almost lived to see the value in other survivors. Their faith in the remnants of humanity are really unmatched. Are you generally as optimistic in your day-to-day life? Are you that person? Except for Cooper, who we now know shames people. But no, it's cool. What you get? Yeah, what you got?
Thank you.
Jerry made.
Hey man, dude, this is. I was gonna say the episode that we were filming. Like, people were like, "What's it like working with Jeffrey?" I'm like, he's great because he'll fuck with you as the character and he'll fuck with you as the actor off screen. So like, if you're man, your Broncos aren't doing so well this year. Like, dude, come on, man. That's
how you get. That's how you do it.
Oh man, I think Jerry is. I mean, as far are we still talking about the cringeworthy moments here? Or are we
No. Like
our
in terms of you
optimism
being,
and
Cooper.
yeah, you're optimistic. Yeah,
it's
You're
I'm
optimistic.
hearing everything. Oh man, it's Jerry always made sense to me, and his optimism made sense because it was just a straight up, just thinking, hey, the world's over. This is new world.
Just figure it out. Just make it work.
But yeah, he just deals with it, and I always like that about him. That it's, he just rolls with the punches pretty well. It's like, oh, this is destroyed. All right, we're moving on. But on Henry for a second, I mean, hey man, our pipes are breaking. He gets to Hilltop, gets drunk, goes to jail, gets in with a girl, I'm not sure when he learned how to blacksmith anything. Of course, pipes never fixed.
Teenagers, right? Like he went with a purpose, suddenly meets some friends, and everything goes to hell. That's just what happens. Yeah. I'm gonna have to talk to my teenage sons now. I'm like, look, don't be Henry. Okay. Now, Ross, you just did an amazing impression of JDM, and I know you do some fantastic impressions. Have you ever had to stand alone and deliver dialogue in practice or rehearsal or anything as any other characters?
Well, not really. Last year, Norman finally got me to break and do my impression of him. Cooper was there.
He's still pissed about it.
I know. I was like, dude, I don't think it's a good idea because you might not like it, you know.
And Melissa was like, do it, Ross, do it. Melissa was like, please do it, Ross.
Denise came up to me afterwards. She's like, it was nice knowing you. And I
That's amazing. Now, do you guys have that kind of fun on set all the time? Are you usually ripping on each other, just teasing?
It's pretty serious. I mean, it's not all jokey jokes, but we take the job pretty seriously. I mean, but there's moments of levity here and there, of course. Yeah.
Are there pranks behind the scenes?
That's
any that you can talk about outside of the statute of limitations. I don't want to get anybody criminally in trouble. Jeffrey just sat back like, shh, don't y'all say nothing. Yeah. I peeped that, sir.
Right now.
That kind of died with Andy and Norman a little bit. I mean, they were pranking each other a lot, but I mean, I don't know. Does Norman prank you, JDM? Or?
Yeah, but you know, Andy was the most gullible person in the history of the world. So, he got it hard. I think the rest of it is the reason that the pranks aren't talked about anymore is because none of us are that fucking gullible.
Like, listen, we survived the zombie apocalypse. We're good.
Fucking a prank every day. They just walked right into it and then was shocked.
Oh my god. Chandler, we're sorry we're talking about your dad like this. This is just so messed up. Should be so much more respectful.
No, I'm on board.
Is a huge theme of the show. Oh, you did it too? Oh. So no one was safe, literally. I get that. Death was such a huge theme of the show. Obviously, dead is in the title, literally. There have been plenty of both shocked and astounding deaths that hit the fans in crazy ways. Whose death got you, though? Whose death made you go, oh my God? What do you got?
Scott Wilson.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, not only because of his death, but just because he was such a cool dude. And I wasn't even in that season, and I hated it.
Yeah.
But I think there's like 4 people here that had rough deaths.
Yeah, definitely.
You know?
Yeah, if you include your own,
you're gonna hate their death. That's
very true.
How it is.
Very, very true. Yeah. Herschel was incredible, and obviously Scott in real life has passed, and he was beloved. Amazing man.
Yep.
Man, Jeffrey, man, you just kind of took us all down there for a second.
Sorry,
man.
fucking
No. That's cool. That's cool because Scott deserves.
Like, you know,
of course.
Chandler and Emily and Stephen and Abraham. I mean, even the deaths that I'm responsible for, they suck. They suck because we love the characters so much and the people.
Yeah.
You know,
very much so.
I wish everybody was still on the fucking show. We'd have 900 cast members, but
we'd watch. We'd be in there. Definitely still watching. 100%.
Yeah.
Ross, what about you, man?
I mean, I think when honestly, well, Herschel was obviously rough, but I actually got really affected by Shane dying for some reason because I felt like that was. He's like what could have happened to Rick later, and also he could have very easily gone the path of Negan. Like he was like the only person really like questioning like, should this be the way we live in the apocalypse, or is there another way that we're going to ensure our safety more by being a little bit more brutal and more realistic? And I that really fucked with me, I guess. I mean, it was.
I feel like for you, Ross, your boyfriend when he died, that was a lot that you took in.
Yeah, that was really rough. That was obviously a bad one. You know,
I remember you being kind of messy about it.
Being kind of messy about it,
understandably so.
Oh yeah.
Understandably so. And in that callback, when you had that conversation, like, are you saying it was my fault for not protecting him? That's why he died? You're like,
oh yeah.
I shouldn't have poked that bear.
That was a fun scene to play, man. That
He
was
brought
just
up my wife. He brought up
No, he was talking about the bat. He was talking about the bat. That's what. Yeah, it was the bat, not your wife. You were definitely right. Don't talk about a man's wife, man. That's just messed up. Emily,
Right.
what about you? Anybody else's death that really got you, aside from your own, of course?
Yeah, I mean, my son was such a good gig. I mean, I was torn up. No, Herschel definitely was probably the one that, affected me the most. Just, filming all of those scenes with Lauren and, and then also like just how it shifted the cast. Sometimes when one person, or a lot of times when one person leaves, then there's just sort of like a shift that happens, and that was definitely one that was really hard for me to adjust to.
Gotcha.
I think Chandler's death.
Yeah, I was about to.
We were all fucking shocked by it in real life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like Emily was saying, I think it reverberated throughout it still is.
I definitely agree with that.
I remember when I saw the script, I do that thing. It's like, who does? And then I saw Carl. I was like, no. And so I got kind of upset at the makeup trailer. And then when we watched the episode, I was at a convention, and so we were watching it with a group of fans. I'm in the back, like trying so hard not to cry, but I'm crying while Carl's going. So thanks, man. So that was pretty. I was surrounded by strangers.
I was there at the convention. I remember being at that convention that weekend, and I had just like that previous week I was doing a movie, and they cut my hair into a mullet, and I was like, I'm not going to go to a convention with a mullet. So I just like stuffed all my hair up in a hat, and they're like, you cut your hair, you're gonna die, and I'm like, no, my hair's still long. It's just, I'm still stuffed it in my hat. I'm not gonna die. I'm not dying. What are you talking about? And then
yeah, I shaved my beard like 6 months ago, or like at the beginning of all this, and then all these things were being written. It's like, Cooper Andrews shaved his beard. I'm like, because I can,
man.
No, you're dead.
It will grow back. I promise.
You're dead.
No beard, no life. Josh, what about you, man?
I have to say some of the earlier deaths outside of Herschel. Some of the earlier deaths kind of got me. Shane, I think, agreeing with Ross. Lori, it was just that moment, like, oh, this show's not fucking around. They're going to kill off primary cast members, and I think they kind of paved the way for shows like Game of Thrones to kind of keep you on the edge. And anybody could go at any second.
Very true. Cassidy?
Oh man, probably Beth and Glenn. Those are the two ones.
Yeah, those were heavy. They bore into your soul. Those were so good. Yeah, very much so. And for you, Chandler, man, I think the thing that got us the most is that it wasn't a sudden occurrence. Like, we literally had to watch you slowly
die. Yeah.
Yes.
It took 42 minutes.
Oh my god, that's the worst thing possible, because we're just like, it's just twisting ever so deeply. Oh my god.
Death rattle.
From character deaths to right, like the whole time. From character deaths to character inclusions, the show took many liberties away from the comic. Was it more liberating to have that kind of freedom where you weren't so directly tied to the source material? We'll have anybody jump in. I mean, obviously, Emily, Beth's character doesn't exist in the comics, so you were able to create something totally brand new and fresh. Was that more liberating, or would you have preferred to have kind of a rubric to follow?
I think it was liberating because people didn't know what to necessarily expect, and we could sort of create it together. And so I think in a lot of ways it was really liberating. I felt like, on set we created it together. Like, you and the costume designer was a big part of that, and of course all the writers and Greg Darabont, and so that was yeah, I think it was liberating too, because you truly didn't know what was going to happen with the character. It wasn't like people couldn't come up to me at conventions and be like, okay, like you're supposed to die this time or that time, I'd be like, it's a mystery, you don't know.
That's got to be the darkest conversation. You're supposed to die next week. I know it, based on the story. That's terrible. Cooper, what about you?
Oh yeah, no, I prefer the freedom. I mean, I think I do. I don't know. With Jerry, at least at the beginning of it, I would kind of do 3 different versions of the character, because it was scary for me being this comedic character, but also trying to ride the line of still fitting it in The Walking Dead. And as a fan of the show, I was like, even though it's like it's a few lines here and there, I'd be like, well, what the hell is this? It's what was it? It's fruit time. I remember saying that. It's like, it's fruit time. I'm like, what time does that mean? that breakfast or whatever, and I don't, like, right. Yeah, just I love cobbler, but the cobbler they gave me that day was so sweet. And I was just like, I just kept eating it. But I hate, it's like I have a skill. It's called eating, and I hate the thing in acting where it's like, oh my God, I'm so thirsty. What's up? And I'm like, hey, that water's getting warm. Are you thirsty? Do you need? I'll drink that if you don't.
Here.
Or like they'll take like the bite and then like get rid of it. I'm like, what's the eat? Keep eating your food. So I was just housing cobbler, but I mean, the choices are always fun because it's like, well, this might work. Let's throw it at the wall, see what happens, kind of thing. So
I love that. Is there anyone here that would have preferred to be more like the books? Because it sounds like you guys are all saying the same thing.
I really liked having comic books to kind of go off of, and just because I from literally right when I got the audition, I started reading the comics, and and around that time was when issue 60 something was out, and so reading, being on the show and reading the issues as they were coming out, and when Carl got his eye shot out, I was like, oh my God, they just killed off Carl. And then the next issue came out, and he lives. It's like it was just so crazy, because I knew I was going to play out those things as they were coming out, and it was really, really cool. And there were so many moments that I was really looking forward to, that I got to play out, in the show. And it was super, super cool to get to do those things, and being a fan of of a comic book, and then getting to actually do the comic book was super, super cool for me. And I liked it a lot.
That's absolutely amazing. We're almost short on time, so I apologize. We've got the cloud of the new episodes that are coming. Super excited. The potential end that's looming over everybody. Do you hope for a happy ending for our survivors, and how would you describe that in 3 words? And we'll start with Emily. How would you describe the ending that you want to see the show wrap up in 3 words?
3 words.
That's an impossible question.
I always might not like your question.
I had you all into right now.
Okay.
Here, I'll throw one at you. They all live. There you go.
Yeah. Health. So and peace and purpose.
Oh, I like that. I would definitely put that on the wall in my house in the zombie apocalypse. I like that.
All rich.
Cooper, do you got one?
Literally, I don't know.
Big bloody sunset. That's how it should end. With a big bloody sunset.
All right. I like that. Josh?
Yeah.
That's Ulrich's dream. That's
okay.
Terrible ending.
It's like Bob Newhart.
Cassidy?
Bruce beats Battlestar Galactica.
We'll go with that.
I don't know. Whatever. I don't know.
Ross?
I was gonna say bourbon, aliens, and cake.
Wow. You're onto something. Chandler?
Rick comes back. That's
That's That's a good one. That's a good one. And last but certainly not least,
4 words. I hope I work again.
hey, ladies and gentlemen, that just got so real. Oh my God. Thank you guys for joining us today. To all the fans that are watching, we thoroughly appreciate it. Let's give one round of applause and a wave to everyone that's here. To all of you stars, thank you guys. To our fans, our friends at Fandemic, thank you guys for bringing us together. Love, peace to all of you guys. Once again, I'm Victor Dangerous, the hardest working man in comics, saying peace to all of you and keep the dead dead.
See you, everybody. Great to see everyone.
See you guys. Love you guys.